Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's look at some of the stocks on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepker with Stephen Carroll, and we're joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Millay. Good morning, Chloe.
Good morning.
So let's start with Novo Nordisk. What's been happening? There's been quite a lot moving in recent days for this business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not been a really great start to the year for Novo Nordisk, and the latest kind of big setback that they had to deal with was the disappointing data that we got yesterday on its next generation obesity shot, and that is an obesity shot that is not working as well as the rival product that we've got from Eli Lilly. And so the readout was called the worst case scenario by Morgan Stanley analysts yesterday, and the shares fell massively as a result. And then today we're seeing some of that weakness continue because we have now some analysts downgrading that stock on the back of that disappointing data. So Novo Nordisk was cut to a neutral rating at JP Morgan. It was also cut at Nordea, and then the price target was also cut at Intron Health. So kind of cuts across the board, and the problem now for Novo is that it really does need a catalyst, because the shares tumbled as well earlier this year when the earnings and the outlook really disappointed for 2026. So this latest readout, this latest data really cements Eli Lilly as the leader in the obesity space, and it makes it much harder now for Novo to come back from that and to try and convince investors that things can actually get better.
Okay, so that's Novo Nordisk. Let's turn next to Fresenius Medical Care, and their shares also on the slide today.
Yeah, and that is because the outlook was seen as very disappointing for that company that provides dialysis. So it's targeting broadly flat earnings in 2026, and that is after a really big surge in profit that we saw last year. And so this moderation was not received very well by the market, and the shares did fall quite a bit this morning. So the company has been undergoing this big turnaround that included divestments, included a cost-cutting program, but the results for the fourth quarter show that the profit gains were really being driven by pricing and by that efficiency rather than any patient growth. So it doesn't look very sustainable in that way. And so the outlook, the numbers seem to signal that this really big turnaround that it's been working on is giving way maybe quite quickly to much more modest growth. And so we're seeing that being quite disappointing for investors this morning.
And lastly, the Spanish-speaking world helping Telefónica to offset European business worries.
Yeah, let's end on something a little bit more positive. So Telefónica is in the green this morning. That is because, it is in pretty good shape. So growth in Spain and then growth in Brazil helped to offset some of that weakness in other European markets. So it seems that things have gotten a bit better since the Investor Day back in November, where the chairman slashed the guidance for cash flows and also the dividend. And since then, there have been a lot of efficiency measures, restructuring efforts, including job cuts. And it seems that some of those are starting to pay off. So in Spain, in particular, growth was really good. It's one of Europe's most competitive telecom markets, but all of the financial indicators grew for last year for the first time since 2008. So it's definitely much better there. For other markets, there is some persistent weakness, and particularly in places like Germany, where there's just a lot of competition. There's competition with Deutsche Telekom, with Vodafone, with 1&1. So it's really limiting Telefónica's ability to push through higher prices in that market in particular. So it's definitely a weaker spot, but there's good earnings elsewhere, good cash flow, and that was enough to make those investors happy this morning.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.